When people say OpenAI trained GPT 5.5 or Anthropic trained Claude Opus 4.7, sounds like one clean event, like there was a huge pile of data, a mountain of GPUs, and suddenly the intelligence appeared. Everyone talks about frontier models like there's some magic inside the checkpoint, but the checkpoint is the final object. The real story is the factory that produces it, how the data was cleaned, what was the architecture, what happens after pre-training is done. A model learns to use these tools, write code, recover from mistakes, and run cheaply in production. That is what we are breaking down today. We are going to use Nemotron 3 because it shows us how LLMs are being trained in 2026.
NVIDIA gives us the blueprint. Here's how LLMs train in 2026.
A state-of-the-art LLM is not trained once. First, you choose the architecture and build the data supply. Then comes the massive pre-training and long context extension. After that, the raw model goes to supervised fine-tuning, multi-environment reinforcement learning. It goes through reward environments and preference fine-tuning. Only then you reach to the zone 4 where you ship it, you quantize it, you evaluate it, and you serve it and deploy. Each stage changes the model in some way. The pre-training builds up the raw capacity. The supervised fine-tuning teaches the model useful behavior. The RL teaches the model how to succeed under feedback. Quantization makes it efficient to run, and the deployment turns it into an actual servable model. So when someone is saying that they have trained a new frontier model, the sentence hides this whole factory behind the checkpoint. And the first major bottleneck in that production line is the context. The long context sounds like a very simple feature, but inside the long context is a very big memory problem. Traditional transformers keep the historic information in the KV cache. As the sequence grows, the model carries this bigger and bigger memory trail behind it. At some point, the compute is not the bottleneck, the memory becomes the bottleneck. It's the memory bandwidth. The model is spending serious energy taking your past historic context and moving it around. That is why NVIDIA uses a Mamba-style sequence modeling. Instead of treating the entire past like a huge attention table, sequence information can be compressed into a recurrent state. But the smart part is the compromise. Nemotron does not throw away entire attention. It keeps the attention layers for exact recall. So the architecture says that you use Mamba when efficient sequence flow matters, and you use attention where precision matters. This is how LLMs support a million context length, not just a bigger window. A different memory strategy is used. One of the biggest tricks in the model scaling paradigm is separating the total parameters with the active parameters. Nemotron 3 Super has roughly around 120 billion parameters, but only 12.7 billion parameters are active at a forward pass. This difference matters. Total parameters are basically the stored capacity of the model. Active parameters are what get fired for one token. Like a giant library, the whole library is available, but for one question, you're not going to open each and every book in the library, right? You're going to pull out a few books that matter. You keep a huge amount of knowledge and specialization available, but you only activate the parts that you need. This is why sparse mixture of expert models matter. The frontier is not just make every dense layer bigger. The frontier is keep more capacity available and activate it intelligently. This has become the standard state-of-the-art MOE used by GPT, used by Opus, used by everyone in the industry. Nemotron's architecture is not a plain transformer tower. The blueprint is around 3 repeating ideas. One is Mamba 2, latent mixture of experts, and global attention anchors. Mamba 2 helps with long sequence flow. Latent MOE gives the model expert capacity without waking up the whole network. Attention anchors are inserted periodically because some information needs exact recall, especially when you are dealing with a million context length. So the design philosophy is very practical. We don't use just one mechanism everywhere. We use Mamba when sequence compression helps. We use attention when exact recall matters. We use MOE where we want specialization, and we use multi-token prediction where faster generation helps. This is how a model frontier architecture looks like. The trick that NVIDIA uses is dimension squeezing. Instead of passing the whole 4000 dimension token, it's squeezed into a highly compressed 1024 channel. This step is called latent down projection. Then the step 2, where the router evaluates the compressed vector, dispatching it to an array of 512 total experts. Here is where all-to-all dispatch happens, followed by 22 experts activating. Only top 22 experts process the data in this compressed state, saving immense all-to-all communication bandwidth. Here is where 22 experts are selected. After that, the aggregated output is then expanded back to 4000 dimensions. So you compress 4000 dimensions to 1000 dimensions. The latent switchboard, where the router evaluates these vectors and dispatches it to an array of 512 experts. Out of 512 experts, only top 22 experts get activated, and that gets followed by a latent upward projection, moving it back to 4000 dimensions. This 4x downward projection and upward projection helps us run 4x experts with the same compute requirements. Let's talk about multi-token prediction. The classic LLM generation is painfully sequential. You predict one token, then the next, then the next. It works, but it is very slow. As the name suggests, multi-token prediction tries to predict next few tokens at that particular point of time. Rather than just predicting one token after another token after another token, multi-token prediction tries to predict next set of few tokens. In this case, 7 token draw engine. So during training, instead of only learning the next word prediction or next token prediction, the model learns to predict several future tokens. That has two benefits. During training, the model gets richer signals because it learns short horizon continuous structure. During training, the model gets richer signal because it learns to predict next set of future tokens. During inference, these extra predictions can work like a draft engine. The model proposes a few tokens ahead and then verifies if it fits or not. So MTP is not just a training trick, it also helps with inference. And Nemotron 3 performed 3.5 times faster using multi-token prediction on the speed benchmark. Let's talk about the raw material, what goes into the training data. You keep hearing that state-of-the-art models are trained on internet data. That is one of the laziest phrases. The raw internet data is not the training data. Training data is actually engineered. You start with messy sources, web pages, code, math, PDFs, documents, synthetic data, and then you bring in your sophisticated curation pipeline where you do deduplication, you do filtering, you do decontamination, you mix the data properly. Every choice you make in the data curation shapes the model's behavior and ability. Every decision you make during data curation mix will decide the behavior of the model as well as its capability. Nemotron raw structured data goes through a sophisticated data curation pipeline which is called Nemo Curator Factory Pipeline. Every state-of-the-art model has their own set of curation pipeline. After going through the complete curation pipeline, you get your refined output, which is the 10 trillion unique curated tokens. In case of Nemotron, it has Nemotron CCV 2.1, which has 9 trillion tokens, which is the core web foundation. Nemotron also has 1 trillion of GitHub as well as synthetic code, followed by math, where 133 billion tokens are used for math, preserving their latex structures. And then you bring a mix of STEM and logic as well, where 336 billion of STEM and logic is being used. The data mix and the data curation you use will define your model capabilities. So data curation is not just pre-processing, data curation is a model design. Before even you put your first gradient upgrade, the model has already been shaped by what you choose to show it. what you remove from this data, and what you repeated. So a healthy data mix is very important for the model to generalize. So previously the models used to get trained high precision, something like a BF16, and then later on you used to quantize it, and that is where you used to cramp up BF16 to BF4 or floating point 4 FP4. Older model training had a simple pattern. It trained in high precision and you used to compress it later, hoping that the model survived. That is why the quantized models we see on Hugging Face sometimes underperform. The new approach that NVIDIA used is more integrated. If the model eventually has to run on FP8 or FP4, why not start the training in FP4 itself? Now, that does not mean that every operation was FP4. Some layers are sensitive, some projections need higher precision. So some layers were at BF16, some layers were at NVFP4. NVFP4 is NVIDIA's floating point 4-bit precision. Some weights can be compressed against, some activations need some careful scaling. The key idea is, rather than training it in BF16 and then quantizing it in 4-bit and losing the model performance, a better way is to start the training and move a few layers in FP4. This helps us in immense memory savings, and now Nemotron can run on DGX Spark as well without losing any accuracy or any precision. Let's talk about pre-training. Pre-training is not just more, guys. At this scale, pre-training is like a curriculum. You have to teach model language, you have to teach model code, math, documents, multilingual stuff, different domains, different style. In pre-training step, the model is learning to generalize across all domains. So you need a blend of all the web data, code, math, STEM, diversity, and broad knowledge. During the warm-up phase, it is trained on 8,000 context length, 8,000 token context length, around 25 million tokens per batch. Once the model is trained on all the diverse and broad data set, then comes the phase 2, where you focus on quality, you focus on reasoning, you blend your data with Wikipedia, academic texts, synthetic SFT data also comes into the picture. You can think of it like an industry scale education. The student is the huge model that we are training. The textbook is tens of trillions of tokens the model is seeing, and the classroom is the GPU cluster in which the model is learning. That's it for part 1. In part 2, we are going to discuss about 1 million context extension, the reinforcement learning environments, supervised fine-tuning, and the advanced techniques that the frontier labs are using now. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next one.
Factory floor, open moves up the model door. Code data math training deep all night. Sparse experts wait when the tokens call. Mamba moves smooth through the context wall. LLM factory, watch it go. Code and data streams to model flow.